How does a girl who can't go on the highway without crying drive a car out to Los Angeles? Well, she doesn't do it alone. So me and my dad set off to drive from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to Los Angeles, California. I won't be lingering on Pennsylvania too long. It's the classic rolling fields, farmlands, Pennsyltucky, Appalachian Tunnel, if you will. We played Freebird the whole way through that thing. And to join us on our journey, we have a new camera. Thanks, Dad. It was nice, but I'm ready for something new, which is why we're going to be spending a brief moment in West Virginia. And West Virginia was really nice, actually, but enjoy this while it lasts because we're already in Ohio.
Part of it all, then.
After visiting, I cannot imagine anything Ohio is the heart of. Except for sheets. They love their sheets here. As a Wawa fanatic, I wasn't really sure what to do with myself in this classy establishment with their buffalo eggs, but I got myself a BLT with pickles, and you know what? It wasn't bad. Obviously, it could never compare to the fine dining you might find at Wawa, but Ohio wasn't bad to drive through. There were cute bridges, interesting industrial towns, and all in all, it was pretty middle of the road. It did feel a lot like Pennsylvania, because it's a neighbor of Pennsylvania. We felt some early fatigue starting to settle in, but we paid it no mind. Side note, we found this truck turned over in Texas. Passenger Pusheen, a new fixture of the car, so I will never, ever have to drive alone. And as we rounded the final corners of Ohio, we thought that was okay, but we were excited to see something new. Little did we know what we were about to see was a garbage fire of a state. Enjoy this water tower, because it's just about the most interesting thing you're going to see in Indiana. I have never been to a place so chocked full of nothing as Indiana. This segment's going to be short. Oh, enjoy this 3 seconds of Indianapolis, which was covered in traffic, by the way.
Indianapolis?
And then we went to Cracker Barrel. And nobody thought to disclose to me that you do not order meatloaf at Cracker Barrel.
All about the destination, but like the journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. No, this is the part of the journey that you try to forget.
And try to forget I have. Indiana, you were the worst. And Illinois came like Christmas morning. Because thank God it's not Indiana. That should be its state slogan. I'm gonna be honest. Illinois kind of just looked a lot like Indiana. And I drove through most of this state, so I would know.
How about a Chester's?
Who's Chester?
But Illinois was, all in all, not so bad to drive through, and I found out about Love's. Isn't that adorable? And driving myself had gone okay. Look at all those trucks. It's like the trucks were our little companions. Keep an eye out for a truck called Danny Herman, who was with us the entire drive. Illinois was our last state of the day, and we were both crashing out a little bit at this point. But then the strangest thing started to happen. The heavens opened up, and then after the opening up, they came raining down all over the place. Not in like really aggressive rain, but it sprinkled for sure, which is when something amazing happened. A rainbow. Like a really big, beautiful, bright rainbow.
It was worth it. It looked so beautiful. I could see some amber waves of grain.
Oh my God, you can!
Oh, amber waves of grain! Amber waves of grain!
All in all, the only thing Illinois needed to do to beat out Indiana was not be Indiana. But the rainbow helped. Crossing into Missouri, somehow the street sign was just MIA, so here's a picture of it. And look at that frowny face. This is the home of Esther Schlesinger-Mita, my dad's wife and my mom, and the Show Me State. And little did we know, we were about to be frickin' shocked as we made our way to the first hotel.
Sort of ironic.
We were in room 405, which is so funny because that's the highway I was going to drive in LA. That's the 66, which ran And it quickly became clear we are not in Philadelphia anymore. We were both exhausted, and it was crazy, but I hadn't driven this much in a day in years.
Yeah, I think I could.
Me and my dad split the driving between Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and St. Louis, Missouri, and I do believe that it was our heaviest driving day of the trip, and we could feel it. Next stop, Amarillo, Texas.
It's too early for this. Good morning, St. Louis. They got the cave branding real strong.
If there's one thing Missouri is going to let you know, it is that that cave is coming. They love their tourists, they love their billboards, and they love their Buckees. Fortunately, that was one of the stops I was the most excited for on this trip. It was really, really nice to start to see more interesting rocks and geographical structures on the trip when it had been so much flat farmland for so long, and seeing tourist attractions was also really cool and excited.
Sharks! Cave!
And then we also saw Stuckies, which felt like a cheap imitation of Buckee's. I don't know, I think they have grounds to sue there.
Oh my god.
We were counting down to Buckee's with the street signs. Look at all those mountains, and they're like broccoli trees. We were having so much fun. Look at that. It was amazing. That's Uranus, in case you were wondering. And then we saw this crazy huge boat yard. I don't know, I've never seen that many boats in one place. It's like the motherboard of all boats. It's the homeland of the boats. It's a boat farm. They're all grown here from the ground. And I wasn't kidding about those billboards. Whichever Gen Z intern they put on the case, I gotta give them props. And finally, at long last, the time had come. We had made it to Buckee's. Buckee's didn't just live up to the hype, it exceeded it in every sense of the word. It went so far beyond my wildest dreams. How did they put that beaver on everything? I love that little beaver. Look at that jerky wall. So many beavers. It was beautiful. So much merch, too. I came out of there with a keychain. Beaver nuggets? Instead opted to get beef jerky to snack on, and every time I opened it in the car, it smelled like a teriyaki fart. My dad doesn't like beef jerky. Welcome to Oklahoma. After the slam dunk that was Buckee's brisket in Missouri, Oklahoma had a tough act to follow because the show me state showed out, while Oklahoma was just okay. However, I did end up driving on the new freeway there, and the speed limit was 80 miles per hour. For legal reasons, I will not be disclosing whether or not I broke 100. So after all those cows and all of that, nothing. We finally crossed over into Texas. I couldn't get the sign in focus, so I tried to fix it in post. Once we got to Texas, the yeehaw really started to kick in. And so did the fatigue. We hadn't had any fun since Buckee's, and though the earth was a little cracked and cool, it was really starting to drive us crazy. There were ranches, though, and who doesn't love a good ranch? So much land for sale for so cheap.
They'll fill up and run down water. It's all erosion. See, there's no real plants, don't have much to hold on to.
Finally, we got to Amarillo, which is kind of just one big rest stop strip mall, but it is home to an iconic Route 66 tourist attraction, Cadillac Ranch, which was really disappointing in person. But, I mean, we drove all the way there, so we made the most of it. So Cadillac Ranch was a bit of a flop, and after that we were like, okay, No more overhyped tourist traps. No more chains. Let's see something real, so I found us the perfect spot for dinner. Introducing the Big Texas Steak Ranch, home of the free 72-ounce steak if you eat that in under an hour. And this place was just about as spaghetti western as you could get in the best possible way. The walls were lined with taxidermy bear heads. There was a shooting gallery. I didn't even know those still existed. My plate was licked clean. I took a bite of that jalapeno and started drooling like crazy at the table, and we got so much merch. So it had been a pretty successful, fun day, all in all, traveling from St. Louis through Oklahoma and all the way to Amarillo.
Next stop, Kingman, Arizona.
We left Texas with a boom. And by that I mean there was like this crazy thunder lightning storm. But it was so beautiful, and it was a really kind of awesome change in scenery and taught us a lot about windmills.
We have to have odds.
What are the odds?
Are we going to see Danny today?
Danny Wiseman?
Truck.
Yeah, I know. Danny Herman.
Danny Herman.
That's the name.
As Texas began to flatten out and look more and more like a desert, it was clear that we were crossing over into someplace entirely new. New Mexico.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
New Mexico is really
New
big.
Mexico.
Good move.
New Mexico.
If there's any place I'm sad I didn't get to see more of, it's definitely New Mexico. The mesas, the orange mountains, I've really never seen anything like it before. The whole place had this like incredible Western vibe and a lot of really interesting Native American influences. And it was just such a cool spot. And I never got to try green chilies. What are they? What do they do? I don't know. We couldn't find any. Fun fact, New Mexico is the only state that I had an urgent life or death pee emergency and almost peed myself in, which I thought was going to happen, honestly, much more than it ended up happening. It was a beautiful state to drive through. You literally drove through the cracks in the mountain, but we hadn't seen anything yet. I mean, there was no sign for Arizona, but it was by far the prettiest state on our journey. Though we considered visiting the Grand Canyon to keep up the pace, we ended up instead visiting the Petrified Forest National Park in Arizona. Whoa. We both agreed that it felt like we were on some alien planet. It was strange to see a snow-covered mountaintop on a 95-degree scorching Arizona heat day. But like a coin flip, suddenly we were like surrounded by evergreen trees, and then like moments later we were looking at a big field. But here we have one of the more controversial moments of the trip, where I failed to catch this mini tornado that crossed the street on Route 66.
Get that!
Oh, we
my
got it.
God! Oh my God, you got that?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
And here's an artistic reenactment of it crossing the street. I drove literally right through a hole in a mountain. I had never seen anything like it. And finally, we arrived back at civilization in an iconic rest stop at Kingman, Arizona. If you're wondering why our windshield is so dirty, those are actually dead bug corpses. That's how long we've been driving. We stopped at Mr. D's Route 66 diner for the night. Saw some really fun political messaging, a lot of classic 50s vibes, like this place I used to love, Cheeseburger, and pretty good food. And there was a photo op across the street. That's enough of that. I went outside at the hotel with the last little bit of energy I had left, looking for stars. There were none to be found. But all in all, an incredible day traveling from Amarillo, Texas to Kingman, Arizona. Next stop, Los Angeles. The terrain remained extremely dry. We had been driving like maniacs for 3 days, and there was relatively a lot less driving today.
Well, sign.
We drove 2,000 miles and that's a crappy sign you use.
Are you kidding me?
California was beautiful. A lot more beige, but still very pretty. And we made our way through the Mojave Desert.
That was a big comeback. With the bear.
After everything, driving in California kind of just felt like a victory lap. And when I saw 3 hours of driving ahead, I said, "Oh, is that all?" And before I knew it, we were back in civilization, and I got the scare of my life in a rest stop bathroom.
Number 4.
Our 2-lane 40 highway turned into the 405, and all 5 to 6 lanes that come with it. Yeah.
A little aggressive.
We made it! We had done it. We had made it all the way to Los Angeles. And as endings often are, it was a little bittersweet. I mean, we were exhausted beyond words, both completely nonverbal buying things in the Target, but when you leave home for college, everybody says you've already spent 80% of the time that you're going to spend with your parents in your life. And I've had to grow up so much since then, and so it's not very often that you are trapped in a car together just with each other's company for that long. And even when we were talking about nothing or not doing much talking at all, it was just nice to be there with someone else. And this trip helped me get the bravery to brave the 405 all on my own.
And I do now, all the time. Funnily enough, highways are one of my favorite parts of driving these days.
I implore you, get out and explore. There is so much in this world worth seeing and so many amazing people that you can see it with.